Hello students, so welcome to this online course of engineering mechanics. So today we are going to start a new topic which is a complementary shear. So in the previous lecture we have seen about the shear stress, how it is, what is the direction of it, and in the lecture previous to that lecture was the about stress, normal stress, and also we have seen the strain and the deformation and the principle of superposition. Now let us see what is a complementary shear. So for understanding that, consider an infinitely small rectangular element ABCD under shear stress of intensity tau acting on planes AD and BC. So figure number A you can see here. So this diagram, tau is acting. Okay. It is clear from the figure that the shear stress on the element will tend to rotate the block in clockwise direction. So you can see this is the given diagram. So this is try to rotate this in clockwise direction. As there is no other force acting on the element, static equilibrium of the element can only be attained if another couple of same magnitude is applied in the counterclockwise direction. So for equilibrium we cannot allow this type of rotation. So what we have to do, we have to apply a equal torque, equal intensity in opposite direction. So for that what we are going to do, we have to apply this kind of tau, this kind of shear stress on the body. Okay, so you can see that is tau dash. This can be achieved by having shear stress of intensity tau dash on the face AB and CD. So figure number B. Now assuming x and y are the length of the sides AB and BC of the rectangular element and a unit thickness perpendicular to the figure. So what is the moment of the given stress? That will be tau into y into 1 into x. Okay, and the balancing moment will be tau dash into x into 1 into y. Clear? You can see from this diagram. So the force will be tau into x into y, and here tau dash into, this is again y and this is same diagram only. Clear? But what is going to happen for equilibrium? These two must be equal. So tau into y into x will be equal to tau dash x into y. This implies tau dash is equal to tau, which show that the magnitude of the balancing shear stress is the same as that of applied stresses. The shear stress on the transverse pair of faces are known as complementary shear stresses. Thus, every shear stress is always accompanied by an equal complementary shear stress on perpendicular plane. So again you can see from this diagram here, you can see that tau yx and tau xy are complementary shear. So in the diagram also you can see this is tau yx and this is tau xy. So they are accompanied and they will be equal. Similarly tau yz and tau szy. So yz on this plane and zy. Okay, so complementary shear will always be equal and they will be present in complementary to, they will complement each other. Now let us see about what is this Poisson's ratio. So in case of tensile force the length increases, and in case of compressive force it decreases. So you can see here this is sigma due to force, tensile force, so it is increasing the length. However, this axial increase or decrease takes place at the cost of change in lateral dimension of the force. So you can see the lateral dimension has decreased. Here you can see this is increased by some length delta L, but again you can see this is reduced. So there is decrease in lateral dimensions. Okay, so any direct stress produces a strain in its own direction as well as an opposite kind of strain in all different other directions to its own direction, known as lateral strain. So this is some cube. If this is a cube, okay, so if here it is sigma tensile, so in this direction it will produce a compressive strain. Clear? So this is what lateral strain is all about. So let me just clear this. So to explain in more detail, we have to check what is a Poisson's ratio. Now the ratio of lateral strain to longitudinal strain of a material when it is subjected to longitudinal stress is known as Poisson's ratio, and it is denoted by mu. So as the longitudinal strain and lateral strain will be of opposite nature, so here minus sign is given to make this modulus positive. Now consider this diagram. So there is so here you can see there is a force P which is acting along x direction. So in x direction there will be increase. Delta L is what? Sigma, 1 minute, this will be delta is epsilon into L. What is this epsilon? This is sigma x upon E in x direction. But what is going to happen in y direction or z direction? There will be, so sigma y will be what? Sigma y upon sigma x will be how much? Minus mu. So sigma y is minus mu times sigma x, and epsilon z is minus mu times epsilon x. Now length, increase in length is how much? So it will be sigma x by E into L, and there will be decrease in width and as well as decrease in depth. Okay. Now if what will be the original volume of this cuboid? It is L into B into D. Now the final volume will be how much? New length and multiplied by new width. Here you can see this is new length, this is new width, and this is new depth. So we are putting all the values here. So finally you will get something like this. After this simplification, you will be getting this. Now what is the change? Change will be the new volume minus the original volume. So here you can see something like this. So finally we are getting this result. So now we are going to put sigma y and sigma z in terms of, epsilon y and epsilon z in terms of epsilon x. So you will get, finally you are going to get delta V. This is volumetric strain. So volumetric strain is epsilon x into 1 minus 2 times of mu. So this result you have to remember directly. In exam question can be asked. Okay. Now that was the for 3 dimension, but for 2 dimensional stress, what is going to happen? Now we are going directly. Now we are checking in terms of this was only one force was there, okay, but now if we are all the dimensions are having stresses like sigma x, sigma y, and sigma z. So how we are going to deal with that? So in that case, let me just show you. So epsilon x is how much? Sigma x by E in this direction, in x direction. But sigma y will also produce how much strain in x direction? Minus mu times sigma y by E. Also this is also going to produce this strain minus mu times sigma x by sigma z by E. Similarly, in epsilon y and epsilon z you can write. So this change in this volumetric strain is also can be expressed as epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z. So how much it is going to come? You just add all the three equations. So you will get sigma x plus sigma y plus sigma z common multiplied by 1 minus 2 mu upon E. So this result also you have to remember. Okay, x sigma x plus sigma y plus sigma z by E 1 minus 2 mu. So volumetric strain is defined as change in volume per unit volume. This is also known as dilation. So change in volume is known as dilation. Now what is bulk modulus? So till now we have seen the elastic modulus of rigidity, elastic modulus and rigidity modulus, modulus of elasticity and modulus of rigidity, E and G. Now what is this bulk modulus? So if the three mutually perpendicular stresses of equal intensity are applied to a body of initial volume, then the ratio of the direct stress to the volumetric strain is known as the bulk modulus of the body. So if a body is kept in the hydrostatic state, if you are putting something in water, so a water applies equal and opposite, it will apply the pressure, equal pressure from all the directions. So there you can see something like this. So all the direction it is same. That means sigma x is equal to sigma y is equal to sigma z is equal to minus p. So k is what? Minus p upon epsilon b. Epsilon v we know. How much is epsilon v? Epsilon v we can write from here. If we are putting sigma x, sigma y or sigma z is equal to minus p. So put epsilon v from here and this equation you will get E is equal to 3k 1 minus 2 mu. So this is the relation between E and K. Now let us check various other like this constant, how we are going to relate the E and G. Okay. So for that, consider a square element ABCD under action of simple stress. So the diagram A, you can see only shear stress is acting. So the resultant distortion of the element is shown. So this is how this body is going to distort. The total change in the corner angle will be plus minus phi. Total angle is 5 by 2, 5 by 2. So total is plus minus phi. Either it will be plus phi or it will be minus phi. However, for convenience sake, the side AB may be considered to be fixed as shown. So for simplification, what we can do, we can make AB as fixed. So this AD D dash will be rotated by phi. Full phi is given to only one direction. Now the linear strain of the diagonal AC can be approximately taken as change in length AC dash, total length, new length is AC dash, old length is AC over AC. So this is your strain, change in length upon original length. So AC dash minus AC is how much? You can take it as this much AE AC dash, because AC is equal to AE. Now put EC dash and AC in terms of BC. Okay, all the angles are given, so you will get epsilon is equal to 5 by 2. Put all the values here. But we know that this phi G is how much? Tau by phi. So from here you will get epsilon is equal to tau by 2G. Now we want to relate E with G. Okay, so here we are getting epsilon in terms of G. Instead of, but how we are going to calculate the relationship between E and G, E and epsilon, we are just discussing now. So in a state of simple shear on two perpendicular planes, the plane at 45 degrees is subjected to tensile stress, while the plane at, so this is you are going to learn in the next in the next semester. So till now just try to understand, if a body is subjected to pure shear, so this 45 this is at 45 degree from AB, so it will be subjected to tensile. So you can see here, this is tensile. This is how much it is at 135 degree. Wait, sorry, this is here. So this is at 135 degree, so it will be subjected to compressive stresses. Okay, so for the time being, just try to understand this. Clear? So for this condition, we know now we are going to write the elongation above the strain along AC, because we have calculated here along AC only. So elongation will be how much? Tau by E minus of tau mu times tau by E, because this is along AC and this is due to the compressive force along what? Along BD. Okay, so here you will get epsilon as tau by E 1 plus mu, but this is equal to tau by 2g. So by equating, you will get E is equal to 2g 1 plus mu, and also we were having E is equal to 3k 1 minus 2 mu. So if you are eliminating mu from these two equations, you will get this value. So this is very important. These three equations directly in exam you will get to know, you will get the questions directly. So please try to remember this and try to derive it at your own. So this is all for today. Thank you.